Doctor Strange, calling Doctor Strange, Doctor Strange, Doctor Strange, wake up now, wake up now.
Calling
We do
Doctor
different songs.
Strange, Doctor Strange, calling Doctor Strange.
Na 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 na.
Or as he's known in Spain, El Mr. Strange.
El Doctor Uno
In
Strange.
France, La Physician de Strange.
In Germany, Mein Führer Strange.
In Japan, is Mr. Strange.
Sensei Strange.
Sanchez Strange.
In Mexico, he is Sanchez Strange. Hello and welcome to A Beardo and a Weirdo Talk Film, episode
10. Probably.
I think it's number 10, isn't it?
Yeah, go on, why not?
Titled Doctor Strange,
Doctor Strange.
Dickwads, and Dumpster.
Doctor Strange, sponsored by Microsoft.
Sponsored by Apples.
It was actually sponsored. Like, did you see all the Microsoft products in it?
I thought I saw quite a lot of
There was a lot of
Wasn't there
Microsoft
like one for
products
like,
in it.
well, it wasn't BNs, it was something like that. BN, Bonbon, no. It was when they were in that market towards the end, in the high street. Was it like Taco
Yakult.
Bell or something? Oh no, Yakult, that's the one.
Yes, those big money Yakult people getting their branding in.
It's just obvious.
Seriously, there was a ton of
No film
Microsoft.
will ever match iRobot for product placement.
Really?
Well, in the first scene, he's putting on Converse, and it like zooms in, and he like slapping them at how cool they are. They drive around Audis. I'm pretty sure he's got some sort of sound system, like everything. I'm pretty sure in that film, pretty sure, is pretty much product placement. Pretty.
Although I'm pretty now I'm thinking about a lot of the Marvel films have had some sort of product placement in them, especially the Iron Man ones.
Do you know what that is? That's what's it called? What's that thing where you don't realise it's there? The marketing, the hidden marketing, subliminal messaging.
Subliminal messaging.
It's like that. You come out thinking, I'm kind of hungry now. I could use some Ben & Jerry's. Where did that idea come from?
Yeah,
and
well,
you haven't realised that Iron Man's been actually shooting rays that say Ben & Jerry's in them.
That's the first time I saw Iron Man. I came out the film thinking, I'm just going to have to go and buy a Lamborghini now.
I'm going to have to buy an Audi R8. And nothing could stop me, not even my budget. But let's get on to film talk now, because this is what we're talking about, film.
The news! Before we move on to our main topic, would you have any news for us, Matt?
We're expecting some slight showers in the north, and if you're in the west, you're pretty much dead, because that's all seen now.
Edge of Tomorrow 2. Have you seen it? And the first one? Have you seen it?
Oh yeah, I really quite enjoyed that.
Yeah, the
Tom Cruise running around in a robot suit instead of running around in a man suit.
it's great because he just dies all the time. If you want to watch Tom Cruise die
He
over
dies
and
a lot.
over and over again,
Like he spends nearly like pretty much the whole film dying, doesn't he? Even like
Yep.
towards the end where
he
he's figured it all
does like
out.
1,000 times, isn't it? Yeah.
It's like Groundhog Day, but with the killer robots. But
Anyway,
I think it's a pretty cool concept.
The director or the producer or someone, Doug Liman, said that the sequel's going to be something like you've never seen before, and everyone just thinks, it's just going to be a prequel.
Is that the idea? Is that
it
that all
looks
we've
like
got so
it's
far?
going to be
Just
a
hint?
sequel that is a prequel,
A pre-sequel.
which hasn't been done before. Apparently.
Oh, never. Have you seen? There's been some photos released for Alien Covenant. I think it was a picture of a facehugger, an egg, and then like some weird looking alien that had like a smushy face.
Yeah.
It wasn't a conventional alien.
Does everything look the same except for one thing?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
It's gonna be
pretty much in
Prometheus
keeping.
Part 2.
We watched the Life trailer, which is another space drama actiony film.
Got
Before we
Jake Gyllenhaal
started
in
watching this,
and Ree Reynolds.
yeah,
I love Jake Gyllenhaal. I think
Yeah,
he's
he's
pretty
pretty good.
excellent in most things. This looks creepy.
he knows how to pick them.
He's got an element of alien about it, because we see that they're obviously space people,
Space
or
people.
astronauts, I believe is a technical term.
Astronauts,
They
find a bit of life on Mars.
And then, surprise, surprise, the African-American dude sticks his hand in the hole, and he's the first to go. Who could have predicted that?
There's no racism in space. Sure.
We believe you.
Yeah.
But no, it looks like it could be quite interesting. I mean, they don't give you a lot. They show you obviously that things start going wrong, and it looks like it might have like elements of the thing about it, like maybe people get taken over by this creature, and it's not just like a big monster. It's more of like an internal thing. There might be quite a lot of paranoia going on. But yeah, quite excited about it. I knew nothing about this film until 5 minutes ago. So
Yeah. I just thought I think it literally came onto my newsfeed today, so. Don't worry about it. I keep more up to date with film news than you.
yeah,
I'm
that's
a
the
bit
thing.
more trendy on the trendy edge of movies.
I'm much more. I'll sit and watch Charlie Chaplin and wish the world was all in black and white.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 won't happen, says producer of Out of the Shadows.
Oh no, that's a shame.
Oh no,
Everyone's gutted about
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No, that's because I looked and like the first one made something like 300 or 400 million, but the last one, like I think, only just did over its budget.
It made 200 million less and cost 10 million more to make.
And it had Seamus in it, and if he can't get you the wins, then what is gonna?
Yeah, Seamus that turned into a massive. What did he turn into?
One of them's a rhinoceros and one of them's a warthog. I believe.
Yeah, I can't remember what they're called.
Bebop and Rocksteady.
Bebop and Rocksteady.
And you've got Krang as well. Krang.
Yeah, they seen what Krang is. They didn't do too bad.
It's basically just like a bubblegum brain thing,
terrible.
Isn't it?
Still pretty terrible. I imagine Power Rangers will come out something like that film.
I just want the villain to turn into a giant crab monster. That's the hope. And it to look like they're obviously dancing around in a studio with tiny little buildings next to them. Have you watched anything worthwhile in the last week or so?
What did I watch in the last week? Well, I saw Doctor Strange twice.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Other than that, I've not really. No, I've just been watching just sort of TV shows and stuff. And
anything good? Anything out of the ordinary or just standard stuff?
Just standard stuff. Nothing new and noteworthy, mate, to add on, I'm sorry.
All right, well, I've got a couple, so...
Go on.
I'll just get down to it. I watched the first couple of episodes of the Exorcist series, which is currently on Sci-Fi.
Sounds horrible.
And it's not bad. Not bad at all. It's got some decent people in it. It's got Gina Davis in it, you know, from Beetlejuice. It's got Alan Ruck.
How old is she now?
I don't know, but she sort of looks really good and really bad at the same time. It's got Alan Ruck, who plays Cameron in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's got a couple of like unknowns, but on the whole...
Well, I'd say the guy who plays Cameron in Ferris Bueller's Day Off is a bit of an unknown.
Yeah, I guess so. You know, it's quite creepy and that. But this is one issue I had with it massively, is that they use CGI for stuff where they didn't need to. Like, there's a scene where this girl gets her leg broken, and they give her a CGI leg.
Right. Even though they've been doing, like, prosthetic broken legs...
Since the beginning of time.
Yeah, SFX.
And it must have surely cost more money to do it. And it looked terrible. And that's something I can't understand. It seems to have quite a good production. That's the only thing that really lets it down. And... one other thing, I watched the late Anton Yelchin's last film, I believe, or the last one he actually filmed, Green Room, came out last year.
Green Room, what happened in that? No.
Got Patrick Stewart in it, and Anton Yelchin's in this, they're just like a hardcore punk band.
Oh, I remember, yeah, I remember.
And then they go to this venue where it's actually like a neo-Nazi club, and then they witness a murder, and then it all gets like really fucked up quickly, and have to fight their way out. It was reasonably entertaining. I was a bit disappointed in Patrick Stewart. He didn't really do a lot. I felt like he was going to bring something like meaty to the role. Yeah? And really fight against...
Like his big, meaty, bald head.
Yeah, but he didn't really do that. It was just sort of like, yeah. But no, it was an okay film and worth a watch. Super violent, but... I mean, they were categorising it as a horror. I didn't really get that. It was just sort of like a violent thriller. But
no, fair enough.
Probably worth a watch. Do you want to get on to today's feature?
Yeah, start about talking about Mr. Doctor Strange.
Mr. Doctor Strange, Capitan...
Tilda Swinton.
Tilda
Swinton.
Chitterworth Ejiofor. Mads Mikkelsen.
He was great.
Mads Mikkelsen. Hannibal Mads.
Do you want to give me a 60-second rundown of what happens in the film?
60 seconds?
60 seconds, go.
I think what an easier way to do, rather than us running through the plot in such a... chronological manner, is if we just literally read like a general synopsis.
By the way, I know this is a new film, but it's a week and a half old now. If you're not going to see it, then you're probably not going to see spoilers ahead, spoilers are afoot.
I think it'd be more interesting if we just give a little synopsis and then just get into what we did and didn't like.
We'll do a little synopsis. Yeah.
We'll do that?
Yeah.
Alright. Before he met the Sorcerer Supreme, Dr. Stephen Vincent Strange, I didn't know his middle name was Vincent.
It's not mentioned.
Open brackets, Cumbersnatch, was an unlikable and egotistical neurosurgeon. Everything changes when a car accident limits Strange's use of his hands. He was driving terribly.
Yeah, it's not an accident. He did that.
He was driving like an absolute prick.
Yeah, but he looked into the middle console to try and save someone who had a bullet in their head, an injection in their brain. He was trying to save someone's life and he crashed.
Oh, is that what he was doing? But he was still driving.
Yeah, he was driving like a twat.
In an irresponsible manner. And then basically his hands get crushed and he ends up with club hands, a bit like Joe. And he's trying to find a cure, and the only way he finds a dude who's like had his back fixed.
Yeah,
it's like, where did that happen? It's like at this magical tower in Papua New Guinea. Was it Papua New Guinea?
No,
Tibet.
Kathmandu.
In
Nepal.
Is that a real place?
In Nepal, yeah.
In Nepal.
Nepal.
There's
no U in it.
And then he goes there and he finds magicians, and it all goes a bit wild.
Yeah, they show him that magic exists. He doesn't believe at first, and then he does. And then they train him in the arts. And at the same time, Mads Mikkelsen's trying to destroy the world by bringing in a dark dimension, and Doctor Strange has to try to stop him.
Doctor Strange, calling Doctor Strange. So
No.
Baby
Doctor Strange,
Doctor Strange, darling Doctor Strange. This is what I've got written about the plot, all right?
Go on.
Plot simple.
No.
Dash, driving like a cunt, comma, mangled hands, comma, decent origin story.
Yeah, and I think that's the first thing I wanted to touch on, really, is that this is an origin story, and historically, Marvel's origin stories, have, other than Iron Man, have been a bit weak.
I would agree with that.
Because they spend a lot of it establishing character and not chucking too much of a story in.
Yeah, I think they've been hit and miss. Like, first Captain America was okay, second one great.
The Captain Americas have got better as they've gone along.
The first one was fine, but he was very different, wasn't he? Because he's like,
yeah,
that fantastic element. The second one, I can't even remember what happens. I think Doctor Who turns up with pointy ears.
Yeah, Dark Elves,
etc. But yeah, to be honest, one of my favourite origins is probably Ant-Man.
Yeah, and that could have been better, really, because that got thrown around by producers. They kept quitting the stories and things like that. But out of all of them, Iron Man's the best origin story.
Yeah,
it's always up there. It's up there in my top 5 Marvel movies anyway.
Yeah, I think so. But let's just get back to Doctor Strange for a minute.
Yep. Go
on. On the whole, I thought Benedict Cumberbatch was fine.
Yeah,
his accent was a bit peculiar.
See, no, I think different, because his accent in everything else he's ever been in has been like so British and perfect. I thought his accent was going to be distracting. First 30 seconds of the film was a bit like, oh, he's speaking in a good American accent. After that, I could have believed he was American.
Didn't you think? Oh no, I don't know what I was trying to do. That was like an accent where I didn't actually have any voice at all.
Didn't you think?
I thought he did sound a tiny little bit like Stephen Hawking, though. Did you not hear that a bit?
Right at the beginning, it felt like he was trying a bit hard, but I think as the movie goes on, he's sort of eased into it.
It was a little bit High School Musical at the start, but it got better.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
But I thought some parts of it were funny, but some of it, like his comedy bits, definitely like fell like really quite flat.
Some of them, yeah, I think some of it fell flat. I mean, I went to go see it again. The second time I went to see it, there was less people in the cinema, and there wasn't as many laughs.
Oh, there was a couple where it was obviously supposed to be a funny bit, and there was literally no laughs.
Yeah,
and that's quite rare, I think.
I think the Marvel films just sort of make you smile, like at a reference to something, rather than make you laugh out loud. Like they're not.
Deadpool has been the only really funny one. Isn't it?
This film does a really good thing of having an emotional drama-y bit, and then just having something light happen to sort of like. There's one scene where he's crying, and he's got his magic cloak on. And like it's a really sad scene, and then the cloak starts like wiping the tears from his eyes, and he's like batting the cloak away, and that's like it sort of eases up it doesn't let the story get too sad and emotional.
There were parts, but I do feel like they were sort of forcing it a bit, because I don't really know much about this character, so I haven't got any frame of reference. But I would assume that he isn't a particularly comedic character.
I'll be honest.
It seems like they're shoehorning it a bit in, because every Avengers film has to have comedy now, doesn't it?
He's kind of like Tony Stark. I don't know if you kind of got that at the beginning, like an arrogant rich arsehole.
Genius, yeah.
But he changes. And even at the end of the film, he's still a bit arrogant and trying to be funny and stuff like that, and a bit too self-confident. But he's more aware of himself by the end of the film. There is good character development. But yeah, he's quite like Tony Stark.
Yeah, he seems even looks a bit like him.
I mean, to be fair, he's not. I mean, I do read quite a bit of Marvel, but Doctor Strange, I've not really touched on him.
No, how is this film actually doing? In terms of money, do you know how much?
I think it opened to either 80 million just abroad.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, I think he looks good at that character. Like, I think they made him look quite good at it. But yeah, let's move on to the next thing that I wanted to talk about, or Tilda Swinton. I think she's decent. She's got a lovely bald head.
Yeah, she's a really good character in this. Like, she's quite smiley and happy.
Quite badass as well. I mean, the first scene in the film is actually when you're introduced to her, isn't it? And she's fighting the treacherous Mads character and all the little peons, and that's when you first start to see what they can do with their magic, etc. And that's visually quite interesting to see her kicking ass, For the most part.
It made $90 million just overseas
Okay, that's not too bad.
from America.
It's only been out for 1 week, isn't it?
And
Is
I
that right?
think that means it made more money in its opening weekend than Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man.
Oh, bloody hell. Didn't Guardians just like get massive though?
Yeah, Guardians got really massive really quick.
When people found out that it was real good, y'all. But yeah, here's the thing, right? I thought the effects when like they were running through the buildings and they were folded on each other and that, I thought that looked pretty insane. That was like some mad kaleidoscope,
It was
crazy
like,
Inception building.
There's a first bit. There's two standoff bits when they're doing the world bending, and the effects in this film. I wouldn't even say CGI because I feel like it's further than CGI.
Further.
It's there's a part where she kicks him out of his body, so he sees like the sort of soul world. Where he's kicked out of his body. He can see himself from the outside. I can't remember what he calls it. Astral projection. And then she just zooms him, like he goes about hundreds of miles an hour out to space. Then he touches a butterfly, and then he just speeds back down to Earth.
It's like an alternate dimension thing.
And he goes
It's
through
really
dimensions, and there's like kaleidoscope effect, and like it looks like he's falling through it. They could have looked really shit and just had him twirling around in the middle, but it looks like he's genuinely falling through this stuff.
I think it would have been worth seeing in 3D, to be honest.
I
don't really like 3D.
I've seen a couple of reviews that say this is worth seeing in 3D. There's a bit where it zooms in on his hands, but then his hands turn into his face.
Oh yeah, I remember the old Hayes.
And then he starts falling. A mini version of him starts falling into his own face, and then he grabs onto like the pupil of his eye.
Yeah, that was pretty freaky.
Yeah,
that was pretty bizarre. But I must admit one thing, right? I thought a lot of the visuals were great, but when he went out of his body, I couldn't help but feel that he looked a little bit like Casper the Friendly Ghost. That seemed to look quite weak to me, especially when he's having that ghost fight with that other guy.
Yeah, so
a bit hokey as fuck.
The bit I thought looked hokey in that is when they're fighting, it's not too bad because it's quite funny when they're fighting because they're fighting in like the spirit kind of world, and it's sort of this woman's trying to save his life because he's just been stabbed.
Yeah,
his actual body. While he's fighting this other guy, and like all the equipment's going haywire in there. But the bit I thought was weird was when he's having the discussion with Tilda Swinton, who's spoilers now. Spoilers. Stop listening if you do not want Doctor Strange to be spoiled. She's dying at a point, isn't she? And she knows she's going to die because she's looked into the future and she can't see past that point. They're sort of standing out on a balcony talking about it.
Yeah.
And she's sort of going, I'm stretch this moment out. And it zooms out to a full body view of them. And they're sort of like floating.
It did look like Casper.
Yeah, they look like Ghostbusters effects during that bit.
It's
like,
mad that can look so shit and then the other bits can look so good.
Yeah, I think if they just missed the scene when they put the full body in, though, it wouldn't look too bad. But even that bit there where she's I'm stretching out, even though I know I'm going to die, I'm stretching out these final seconds. And you see the lightning, there's a helicopter just in midair, and as you see the lightning bolts in the background.
Yeah, I mean, it did look pretty insane. Let's just talk through. Should we just talk through the characters, like the supporting cast?
Yeah, sure.
So, you had Chitawa Ejiofor, whose name I butchered once more.
Yep.
And what was the name of his character again?
I can't remember exactly what the name is.
Marmaduke.
I'll have
to quickly Google it. But yeah, he's pretty decent.
He was good.
He's okay. Yes.
He was very good at the kind of stick to your guns. I'm right or I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Which was he did well as a supporting character because Doctor Strange is questioning. He's always looking at something different, and this guy's like, you're right or you're wrong. There's no in between.
It seems to be very black or white.
Yeah,
doesn't it? But yeah, I mean, he does the action bits well. I mean, there were some things I thought were a little bit lame with this film. Like, there's a scene where him and Benedict are having like a weird little fight, and they're doing that classic thing of when we have a fight, we've got to like have a dramatic talk.
Yeah. That was a bit cliche.
Again, really?
Yeah. So what happened? Why did he take the pages?
And they're just like, and then they like zoom in and they're like wrestling, but they're still chatting. It's like if you're actually sparring with someone, I don't think you'd be talking to them like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's fine. The Wong dude's pretty funny as well. I think I recognised him from The Martian. Isn't he the guy that has to build all the stuff really quickly?
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember exactly what his name is.
But he plays the librarian, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's really good. He's quite funny.
Comic relief there, and there's a Beyonce reference.
Yeah, so he knows just Wong. So Doctor Strange is like, what? So like Moby, Bono, Beyonce, and like, you must know Beyonce, and he's listening to Beyonce at one point.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of funny, but I still wasn't really blown away. Let me just find out what his name was, because I feel so bad for not knowing this. His name was... Chiwetel Ejiofor played Carl Mordo, and this dude's name is Wong, and it's... Oh, the guy's name is actually Benedict Wong.
Is it?
Yeah.
I did think that when I was watching the credits, actually, the second time. I saw Benedict Wong come up. I was like, no, that was Wong.
I thought it was the guy from Jurassic Park, but... I will say that the woman, Rachel McAdams' character, Christine Palmer, she isn't really there to do anything other than for Doctor Strange to be an arsehole to her.
Yeah,
and realise that he sort of loves her.
The scene that she saves his life because he's been stabbed by one of the evil monks.
Evil monks.
She's good in that. Other than that, yeah, she's very, very supporting. Sort of, she's his life back home, and he just sort of pops in and out when he wants. It's quite funny though, the scene where he just walks back in, he's dressed all in robes, and he's like, just don't ask, just heal me.
Just heal me. Make me better, woman. Make me better. Make me better. But, yeah. I mean, I thought the cape was quite good. That was probably one of the better parts of the film.
Yeah.
It's got like its own little personality. It just reminded me of the carpet from Aladdin.
Yeah, the cape was like very good. It chose him sort of thing, isn't it? It's a relic, so it chooses a sorcerer at some point. So it chooses him, and he's just like, there's some because he's still learning. He's not good at fighting off these evil monks that are coming at him.
Monks.
Monk. So because he's not really good, the cloak's sort of helping him, and that's another thing I liked about it is he doesn't suddenly get amazing at it when he's fighting them. He's still pretty crap, like to the point where he does 2 shields on his hands, and one shield just sort of just falls off, and he's like trying to get it back. But then the cloak's there to sort of be like, yeah, you're shit, but you can still win this fight, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's where I sort of just had to that's just something I didn't really buy, because this is before I think he's even got the cloak, and he goes to fight like 3 of them, including Mads, who's supposed to be the big baddie.
Yeah.
He's sort of like fighting them all off at once, and you think like, isn't there some sort of skill level thing here at the minute where they'd just be able to destroy him?
I feel like the thing this film was missing was about 5 to 10 more minutes of training montage. There really didn't seem much development from him being I know nothing to I'm at an okay level of this.
I mean, we believe that he's really clever and he learns stuff fast, but he still does get like overnight. He goes from being like someone who can't really do anything to actually facing off with the baddie.
Like I want to see sort of a scene where he's sort of failing at something, cuts to him doing something else, and he's slowly getting better at this one thing, and he's eventually so good at it that he's better at it than someone else. Like just classic montage sort of thing, you know.
Montage, Rocky
could have
style.
Just used 10 more minutes of him being trained.
It would have been good if Mad's character was also training at the same time, but in like a Russian gym, and he's getting injected with steroids, and you just see him punching like 2,000 square pounds or whatever, and then he after he's killed Apollo Creed in a battle in an exhibition match, if he dies, he dies.
And Mads Mikkelsen's pretty good, isn't he? He's really good.
I mean, I really rate him as an actor. I think he's just got the face of a villain.
He really does, yeah. He's built to be a villain.
Yeah, because he was what was it, Le Chiffre in Casino Royale?
Yeah,
it was pretty cool. He's played Hannibal in the Hannibal series. He's been in quite a lot of stuff, and here he is good, but I don't think he's really given enough to do. Really, you see him like kill one guy as a baddie, and then the rest of the time he just seems to be running around a lot.
Yeah,
there's a lot of running.
There is a lot of running. However, the thing you've got to think about in this film is that he's not as much of the villain as you think he is, because he's right that. Because Tilda Swinton turns out to be kind of bad. She's the one sort of using these evil spells she said no one else can use, but she's using power from the dark dimension to make herself live forever.
Yeah, but that's so she can sort of like control everything and make sure everything's okay.
But it's a double standard. So in a way, Mads Mikkelsen is right in what he's doing, because he's like, well, why are you just keeping all this power for yourself?
Well, yeah, he's not a conventional just I'm a horrible bastard villain. He's like someone who's got his own like agenda. And it just so happens that what he thinks he's doing is all right.
But then that's the thing, because in this film, there's points where I felt like Doctor Strange could have gone either way.
Yeah, you do see him sort of like deliberate.
Because when he's at the beginning, she refuses to train him because she's like, I've seen arrogance before and I know what it does to people. I don't want to see another good sorcerer return to the dark.
Wizard!
And then eventually, obviously, he decides to fight. But then even after he's done fighting Mads Mikkelsen, he turns around to Tilda Swinton and goes, "What the hell are you doing?
Yeah, what's all this about? What is this shit?" Which is, that's quite an interesting... That's one of the more interesting parts of the plot, I guess, is that you're seeing that it isn't just a cut and dry baddie and goodie. No. And obviously, Mr. Strange has quite a lot of issues with potentially like killing people and stuff.
Yeah.
He wants to do it in like a more peaceful way because he's like, oh, I was a surgeon, I want to save people, etc.
Yeah,
etc.
and then that's another thing. Like, he's just defended the world essentially. So Chica Itafar, whatever his name is like, well done, you just defended the world. He's like, I'm a doctor, I don't kill people. I'm not going to kill people anymore.
About killing that guy.
And then he's like, no, but you saved the world. Like, he's always good or bad. And yeah, that was quite good. That was quite a good sort of character. He stuck to his old. He didn't just go, I'm a wizard, this is it, I'm always just going to fight for this now. He still questions stuff towards the end.
Self-doubt. Potential loathing. Check. One thing I want to talk about is, like, you know, like the final boss battle, shall we say?
Yeah.
Where he fights the giant sky cloud monster thingy.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't really fight him, he just annoys him to death.
That was funny. I thought that those scenes were funny. So by the end of the film, he's picked up this relic and he's advanced enough at magic.
It's basically like Bernard's watch.
Yeah, it kind of is. He can turn back time.
If I could turn back
he can trap time in a loop, and if the loop doesn't go the way he wants, he can just turn it back until he decides to break the loop.
Yeah,
and
that's an interesting concept. But like, my issue is that you're like told that this is like the ultimate dark being, the destroyer of everything, and all Benedict has to do to beat him is to like make him realise that he can't kill him about 20 times, and then he's like, oh, I've had enough.
Yeah, but that's
it's like Groundhog Day.
It's sort of, how else would he have beaten him?
But he can't beat him.
Exactly.
With a giant stick.
So, and that's what he
Hulk.
means. He figures out that it doesn't matter what he does. He's not strong enough to defeat him coming back. So the best way you can do is say, look, we've got this magic. I'll just keep dying until you piss off.
Yeah, it sort of makes sense, but I thought, oh, this is so stupid.
It's
so retarded.
I feel like if they'd have gone for a big final battle, if they'd have just gone for, he manages to turn up when. By the way, there's 3 sanctums on Earth. If they all get destroyed, Earth's no longer protected by magic.
Yeah, and they're all in the capitals of the world.
Yeah, Hong Kong, New York, and London.
And London.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
Funnily enough, Hong Kong's they get a Chinese audience.
Why wasn't there one in Slough? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Any film any Western film that's filmed anywhere in China now, I'm just immediately suspicious of. Just like, you're just trying to get that China money, aren't you?
You're going for the Chinese dollar.
Going for the Chinese dollar.
They love it, don't they?
Yeah. So he could have turned up in China, realised that the last sanctum had been destroyed, turned back time, and then defeated Mads Mikkelsen. And I don't feel like that would have been as satisfying an end to the film.
Yeah, no, I think, like, I don't know.
That would have capped it off too neatly. However, at the end of this film, you're now aware that there's this... The existence of these crazy, strong, super beings from outer worlds exist within the Marvel universe, and maybe they're not too prepared for it.
There seems to be a lot of those in the Marvel universe, doesn't there? There's a lot of supreme beings. How have they not come across each other?
They will.
When they're
Marvel Infinity Wars Part 1 and Part 2, man.
They're all just going to team up and it's going to be a giant battle. Should we get down to how we genuinely felt and scores?
I'm just trying to think. Was there anyone else I wanted to mention? No. We've got 5 more minutes. Just quickly, favorite bits of the film. Just little favorite bits, and then not so favorite bits of the film.
Favorite bits. You go first. I'm still thinking.
Favorite bits, easily just the mind-bending world reality scenes when it's like Inception times 1,000. The scenes where they turn the world up 90 degrees in Inception, it's like that, except 8 other bits are also turned 90 degrees up, and cars are just... It looks real. It looked real, and...
Yeah, I like that like sort of chase battle thing that's got... It's also got Tilda Swinton's character in it, where they're sort of like falling down staircases, and they're all going through gaps, and they're chasing after each other, and they're just sling ringing everything. I thought that was pretty cool. The
sling ring bits looked good.
I think they look good. I think that's a terrible name for a item that does such a thing. But yeah, that concept's a pretty cool one.
Yeah.
I mean, on the whole, I thought this film was okay, but I just feel like, I mean, it's been getting like really good reviews, and I just feel like everyone is so much more like predisposed to loving anything that's Marvel than just like a normal film. See,
this is what I think Marvel's becoming now. Marvel can make good films all day long, and I feel like this is better than just a good film. They could have just gone really standard with this. There's a couple of critics that normally don't even bother reviewing Marvel films that have watched this and said it and giving it a decent review. And for an origin film, I think it's one of their better ones. And I will go and watch the second one.
Yeah, I think you liked it a lot more than I did.
Definitely.
I think I was just a little bit underwhelmed. I think maybe I shouldn't have had a look at the reviews and seen how highly it was rated, because then I'm always expecting something a bit more. But on the whole, the performances were fine, the story was fine, the visuals are the standout element. Some of the comedy was hit and miss. It's worth watching, I'd say that. I wouldn't, just from a visual point of view, and probably go and watch it in 3D if you can, because I'm sure it'll be a bit better in terms of delights. But yeah, it just seemed quite average to me. I feel like something like Iron Man was a much more enjoyable origin story for me.
As well, you think this is Doctor Strange. No one knows who Doctor Strange is before you watch the film either. And you come out of it with like a decent knowledge of it. This film shouldn't do very well. It just shouldn't, because no one knows who he is.
That's what I was saying. I didn't think it was particularly like well marketed, like in terms of like exposure. But it seems to have. I guess because it's Marvel, they're always gonna, and they've got confidence in it, because like stuff like Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man has performed well, even though they weren't their most popular characters.
It kept me interested though in the actual film as well. Like I was. Even if the story was horrible, just the visuals alone in this film was insane. I can't stress enough. Like, I genuinely think this is one of the best sort of CGI special effects films I've seen.
They were brilliant, but then I still don't get the Casper the Friendly Ghost floating. I don't know how they fucked that up.
The astral projection stuff, that was a bit looked like Ghostbusters.
How can you have like some of the best CGI ever and then some are like the worst?
Because they literally probably just went make them look like ghosts.
Can't be that vague, darling. You have to be specific. But yeah, do you want to give it a rating? Anything else you want to mention? I mean, I just think it was perfectly reasonable. I might watch it again, but I'm not crazy about it.
The second time I watched it, I settled into it a lot better than the first time I watched it. I think I was overanalyzing it the first time I watched it. When I watched it the second time, I sort of relaxed a little bit and just enjoyed it for the film that it is.
Just go for the ride. Do you want to give it a score?
I've got to give it 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. It's going to get 6 from me.
Wow.
Oh, a damning 6. Damning. That is horrible. But I just can't shake the feeling that, although there's lots of elements that I thought were okay and the visuals were amazing, I didn't enjoy it that much, really.
No?
No.
I thought Benedict Cumberbatch is a very good addition to the universe, though.
Benedict Cumbersnatch, yes.
As a character. His character's really funny and good.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see him in another film, maybe in a context with the other characters. I don't know, like some sort of Avengers thingamadiggy.
Well, should we talk about the post-credit scene?
Yeah, he's talking to Thor, isn't he?
Yeah, so he's sort of like, he's a master now of a sanctum, and he's like, why are you here? I see you've brought Loki down. He's a criminal. He's a danger to the earth. How do I get rid of him? He's like, we're looking for our father.
I thought he was dead.
Yeah, I thought he was dead too. Apparently he's not.
Anthony Hopkins.
For Ragnarok. Yeah, Anthony Hopkins is still alive in New York somewhere. So then Doctor Strange is like, so once you found him, you and take Loki and leave? He's like, yep, I'll come help you.
And that's the teaser.
Yeah, Did
like
you know there was another bit after that, though? We didn't stay.
Oh, no, of course, there's a bit.
Whatever his name is, whatever. What's his name?
Chiwetel
Ejiofor. He goes back and visits Pangborn, who's the guy that learns the mystic arts, and then rather than furthering himself, uses it to fix his body from the back down, even though he's paralysed.
Yeah.
And at the end of the film, because Chiwetel whatever.
You got that right that time. Well done.
His character's disillusioned because he doesn't agree with Doctor Strange bending time.
Yeah.
Because he feels like his thing is you've got to pay the bill. Once you bend the laws of space and time,
you got to give a tip, man.
Yeah.
You eat the food. You pay the bill.
You got to pay the tip. But he's like he feels like sorcery crap now. So he goes back and visits Pangborn, and he goes, I don't believe magic is correct anymore, and he takes the powers off Pangborn.
Oh no, that's me.
And Pangborn's just laying on the floor because he's now fully paralysed.
Oh, that's
so. It looks like they're setting him up for the villain in Doctor Strange 2, or maybe another Marvel film.
Who knows? Maybe Chiwetel Ejiofor.
So it looks like he's still going to be in the universe.
Interesting. I think that's a nice little place to wrap this bad boy up.
Yeah, baby.
We watched Doctor Strange. Our next episode is yet to be determined.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure we'll know what it is and be able to tell you by the time you actually hear this.
It might be The Accountant.
We exist
might
in a
be
time
another
loop.
2016 film.
2016, Year of the Horse.
Bye.